Welcome to my new YouTube series. I invite you to join me, Greg Sullavan, and my friend Scott Stramyk as we start our trip around the South Island of New Zealand. I will take you behind the scenes while looking for inspiration to create world-class landscape photography. This is From Clueless to Captivating. Our journey begins after a late night pickup at Christchurch International Airport, and we travel to Lake Tekapo with the goal to arrive before sunrise. A quick stop for some hot fresh bread, and we continue in the campervan until the morning light reveals the beautiful landscape around us. This episode, the first in a series called Finding Focus, because I don't really know what I'm looking for just yet, but we'll start with inspiration. As we approach Lake Tekapo, the sun is already higher than anticipated, but we managed to find a good parking space right in front. A quick look around shows me the famous Church of the Good Shepherd perched at the edge of Lake Tekapo and fringed by spectacular mountains. Behind me, the sun is illuminating a footbridge that leads over to the other side of a small river. Well, we made it here to Lake Tekapo. We drove through the night straight from the airport to see if we could check out the Church of the Good Shepherd at sunrise, and as you can see, the sun has now crested over the top of the mountains there. It was quite a scene driving out through here and seeing the mist on the lake, so it was very exciting. But I also wanted to get here to see what the Milky Way could look like using the app PhotoPills, doing a bit of a recce for that as well to see what that could look like later. So we're really excited to check that out, but for now we're probably going to have a few hours of sleep and then maybe drive up to Mount Cook and see what's happening. Photographically, there are some signs on the fence that ideally should be located somewhere else, although it's good to know that anyone can check out the church between 9 to 5 p.m. I can tell you that there are dozens of tourists that stay within the grounds after 5 p.m, potentially spoiling your sunset shoot.
Greg, you should check this out, 400 mil.
Oh, that's awesome.
The light coming through just that stained glass in the back.
That little bit of tree up on the top there as well.
Yeah.
You know what, you need to focus stack that. Make sure you get one of those, that branch sharp.
But this is the issue. Don't park your car in the best spot possible because it's going to ruin your photos. Tip 101.
So which dumbass parked their Brits van in front of the Church of the Good Shepherd? I don't know.
Only the best.
One thing I've learned is that it's always a great idea to have a plan for the next shoot, and I spent the following 2 hours walking around the lake to see if there was another angle. After all, this is a creative pursuit and I'm out looking for inspiration. Secretly, I was also hoping that if we were extremely lucky, I might have the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see and photograph an aurora, and I wanted to have a plan if that was going to happen. It was no accident that we scheduled our trip in the autumn time to capture the golden hues that splash the landscape with outrageous colour. We don't really get colours like this in Brisbane, where I'm from, and it was incredible to see the way the leaves stood out from the blue sky behind them. Scotty was already in the creative mindset and set his EOS R3 to black and white in picture styles with the red filter applied. After my first sleep in the campervan, it was time to explore Lake Pukaki. It's a popular spot for lovers of outdoor activities, and the scenery is breathtaking, with views of a snow-capped Mount Cook across the lake. So here I am at Lake Pukaki on the South Island of New Zealand, and I'm thinking of a super long exposure using the 15-stop Haida neutral density filter with a graduated filter and a circular polarizing filter. The exposure's around the 8-minute mark, and the idea is to try and get some movement in the clouds, which look spectacular, but they are moving very slowly. So we'll see what happens. I love a super long exposure, and I use the Haida M10 Mark II filter kit with the Red Diamond series, which are scratch and shatter resistant. It's important to know that a long exposure can increase the risk of digital noise ruining your photograph, so leave the long exposure noise reduction option to auto in your menu settings. An 8-minute exposure gives you lots of time to go off and film some B-roll. So I went up to see what Scotty was doing before returning to check my photograph. It's easy to calculate your long exposures using free apps, and if you make a mistake, just change your exposure and let more or less light in. The shots that come out too bright or too dark may be useful to use in post-production. So I'm not the first person to ever take this photograph. but I'm pretty happy that I found where it is. It's on the way to Mount Cook near Glentana Station, I should say. And what I'm trying to do is capture light trails with Mount Cook in the background. I've decided that I need to get the light trails elongated through the image, and if I counted through the amount of time it takes for the lights to pass through the road in the foreground, it took about 30 seconds. So I calculated my exposure with the help of a 6-stop neutral density filter to slow it down to 30 seconds in this available light. Probably best not to tell Scotty, but I actually stuffed up our accommodation tonight. I just called the caravan park at Glentana Station, where I booked a powered site for our camper van for tomorrow night. And I just happened to call up and catch the girl on the way out the door, and I've changed it for tonight. So let's not tell Scotty that. It'll be our little secret, right? All right, so where are we going, Scott?
The Wrinkly Ram. So Poppy's Cafe and Restaurant is closed, but some of the locals from Christchurch mentioned that we should go down to, what was the next town? 25 k's away?
Omaramu?
Omaramu?
Yeah, I think so.
Omaramu. And they said we've got to go to the Wrinkly Ram. So Omarama.
Yeah.
Omarama. Well, yeah. That's where the clay cliffs are.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, just past Omarama is the clay cliff, so that's good. We'll have our Brecon bacon roll.
We're gonna have some Brecon bacon.
Brecon bacon roll. Have a coffee, and then go to the clay cliffs.
Thick shape vibes. Good vibes.
Do our drone shot. Yeah, you need
that the first time I've had
push that in.
I thought it was a reverse.
No, you have the handbrake on.
Okay. This driving time-lapse takes us from Omarama to Wanaka, through the dramatic landscape of Linda's Pass, where there is something to discover around every corner, and even a simple driveway becomes a new photographic opportunity. As we continue to drive towards the highest point of Linda's Pass, there is a lookout, with plenty of parking at the top of the pass, at an altitude of 970 metres. The mountainous terrain is covered with a sea of tussock grass, giving you an autumn Lord of the Rings vibe. As the landscape gives way to more farmland, it seems that every side road has a hidden landscape waiting to be found. One such stop reveals an autumn forest of yellow on all sides around us. A gust of wind quickly becomes a magical shower of golden leaves. I decide to shoot some B-roll with a GoPro on a tripod, with the van driving directly over the camera, which turns out to be a bad idea. Who knew? Anyways, I don't think my photograph really tells the beauty of the scene, and I would call this an opportunity missed. The time-lapse rolls on, and we continue through a charming town called Clyde, with a nice looking red bridge that might be worth exploring later on the road back to Dunedin. Google Maps will take you straight to the closest car park to the Wanaka tree. The story goes that 72 years ago a farmer used poplar pickets to make a fence. One of those sprouted and is still alive today and known as the Wanaka tree, photographed by millions of photographers from all over the world. This afternoon, tonight and tomorrow night, it's our turn. There are a lot of photographers here, from seasoned professionals to the selfie squad. My first impression was complete awe. It's a perfect composition with foreground, middle section and background. My second impression is that the pro photographers can see exactly what I do too, and the only vantage point I had was with the telephoto lens. Surprisingly, the crowds start disappearing, giving me the opportunity to switch to a wider angle lens. No clouds for me tonight, but I'm just happy to experience this special place. The next morning, we went back to our location to catch the first light. Although we didn't videotape the incident, Scott and I had a nasty run-in with another photographer who claimed we were going to ruin his 6-hour-long exposure. His behaviour was erratic and threatening, but when he scuttled away into the night, we put the incident behind us. Little did we know that angry man would have his vengeance. One thing I learned is that the best time to shoot in New Zealand is first light. The other photographers will turn up with the sunrise, but it's already too bright. Once again, the clouds abandon me, but I'm happy with the blue sky sunrise, shot with the light illuminating the yellow leaves and reflecting nicely off the water. For us, the time was right to get a bite to eat and head out towards Milford Sound. The trip to Milford Sound would have to wait because we had a problem. The van had mysteriously collected 4 flat tyres. This is where the optional full insurance coverage came to the rescue in the form of local legend Ethan from Wanaka Auto Centre. The tyres had been slashed by the angry photographer, and Ethan helpfully suggested he must be either an Australian or from the North Island, so we headed back to the workshop to source 4 new tyres. So it turns out that our photography friend has punctured all 4 of our tyres on our camper van. So he really was a high achiever, this guy. Must have been upset. I don't know why you'd get so angry about that, but he's probably gone home now to kick his dog or something, I don't know.
Piss off any more of those pesky photographers and you'll be
Oh,
right.
yes. Crazy.
So while Ethan did all the hard work, I decided it was the right time to make a sandwich for the boys. This is Scotty, the master plater. He's master plating our sandwiches. Yet another gastronomic success story.
So we're finally on our way now. It's 12:30 in the afternoon. We were meant to leave Lake Wanaka at 9 a.m.
So it's cost us 3.5 hours.
And 4 new tyres.
Which means that he's cost us Milford Sound. So we're going to change our plans now and go to Arrowtown, which is about an hour away. From Clueless to Captivating continues as we travel to the Otago region to build our landscape photography credentials in the beautiful South Island of New Zealand. I can also share with you my secret hidden agenda, which is to enter world-class landscape photography awards. So we invite you to join us on our travels as we share both our successes and failures along the way.